Welcome aboard, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, brought to you weekly by Creekside Entertainment, Penyan Electronics, and Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio. I'm your host, Steve Ovens, sitting alongside Big Poppy in the house, Clint Miller. How we doing tonight, Clint?
We're doing fine. Great weekend.
Great race weekend.
Lots to talk about. Good stuff.
And making his return to the Casa de Pork Chop Studios, our producer, B-Rad. What's going on, B-Rad?
Just getting over this darn winter, spring sickness. Lovely working in the field of healthcare.
He's got the springtime crud.
Yeah,
well,
call it something like that.
Clint, you and I have talked about this a couple times. We've been waiting a couple weeks here for Brad to get back in studio because, a couple weeks ago before I went on vacation, I did this little thing where I asked Keegan to be my fiance and then be my wife after we get married. He hasn't been in the studio, and I haven't had a chance to ask him, so I decided tonight, right in the beginning of our episode, that I'd ask our producer, my brother, Brad, to be my best man in our wedding. Ta-da!
Hey!
Putting it on the spot, but of course.
All right, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice, very nice.
First text message I got after I got engaged was from this kid right here, and it was a picture of a grape cigar. So,
yes, it was.
All right. Well, now that we got that out of the way, I've been waiting like 3 weeks to get that done. Let's talk racing, Clint. And, boy, what a weekend. Saturday.
Fantastic.
Other than Saturday, great weekend. Finally got our opening event Friday at the Yates County Speedway. And, man, what a night over there. It really sets the stage for what's going to be a rebuilding year, and it's going to be an awesome year. They've got a break now until Tuesday, May 13th, when the Race Champions Dirt Modifieds come into town. That's going to be a huge show. That's going to be a huge show that we're hoping to be a big part of. Nothing that we can announce yet, but we're working on something big for that night. And then, most everything in New York State got washed out on Saturday in one form or another. A lot of tracks pushed through, got some features in, maybe only got some heats in. Woodhall was about ready to start practice, and they got rain again and then ended up getting washed out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Sunday, wasn't sure really what the weather was going to look like, but boy, what a beautiful day down at Chemung.
All day long.
Down at the Speedrome.
Misted, had a little bit of a mist a couple times.
A couple spits here and there.
I wouldn't even call it a mist.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it that. It wasn't anything continuous, certainly. And, good race down there for the opening round of the Race of Champions Asphalt Modified Tour. Matt Hirschman picking up the win down there. We've got interviews with 4 out of the top 5 from Chemung. Also tonight we've got interviews from all of the top 5 from Yates County Speedway in the Greg's Auto Body Street Stocks. They're getting their first race of the year in. We've also got
good field of cars.
Great field. And let's talk about car counts. Sportsman, 19 cars. Street Stocks, 19 cars. What a field. And there's more cars to come. Like, that's the awesome part is, especially with the Street Stocks, we know, there's been such a focus on that class, and for good reason. $500 to win, $50 to start. And we've got guys who race late models who are bringing out the Street Stocks. And because they have one, and it's $500 to win and $50 to start, so why not? But we've still got more cars coming for that class. Kevin Parsons, guy that we talked to down at the Woodhall car show.
Cleveland.
He'll be coming. Carl Cleveland, Double Deuce Coupe is coming. So more guys on the way, but to start out at 19 cars, wow. And a great race, too. When we come back from the commercial break, we're going to go into all the results, all of the interviews that we have, but great show on tap for you guys tonight. We're going to start it off when we come back from break with our Yates County Speedway opening night review of results, and we've got interviews with a lot of the top finishing drivers, including Darryl Ruggles, who won the CRSA 305 Sprint Car event, and lots more when we come back.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Penyan Electronics is the official Radio Shack dealer of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They're also the only Radio Shack dealer in the Penyan area. Visit them at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penyan for all of your electronics, cable, music, and cell phone needs. Visit Penyan Electronics or give them a call, 315-536-7700. Penyan Electronics. RaceChaserOnline.com is your home for news, views, and driver interviews. You can catch everything from F1 to IndyCar, NASCAR, short track, and dirt car. You can also find them on Speed 77 Radio Mondays on Shoutcast. Catch Motorsports Madness live at 7 p.m. and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report Thursdays at 7 p.m. Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. If you need karaoke for your bar or party, or if you need the photo booth to create memories that'll last a lifetime, give Stu a call at 315-481-9700, or you can find him on Facebook, search Creekside Entertainment, or find him on the World Wide Web, www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com.
your dirt track home for news, discussion, and driver interviews, along with race results. You're listening to Turn 5.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, brought to you weekly by Race Chaser Online, Speed 77 Radio, Penyan Electronics, and Creekside Entertainment, the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5. Clint, let's talk about Yates County Speedway, starting it off Friday night. Opening night over at Yates County. Along with opening night, you had another division of cars, the CRSA 305 Sprint Car Tour invaded the Yates County Oval, and coming away with the win, not really a big surprise here. Strong 305 competitor out of the Canandaigua, Hopewell area. Darryl Ruggles in the 48 Junior took home the win. Bill Jaycox came home second. Jeremy Quick came home third. We have interviews with all three of those guys. Rounding out the top five was Jordan Thomas in fourth, and John Preston rounded out the top five. 6 through 9 was Dalton Herrick, Scott Goodrich, John Matrofalio, and Brett Jaycox. 9 cars for the 305s. And I got to tell you, it was kind of fun to watch those guys race, even though there was just the 9 cars there. Yates County, I almost called it Black Rock. Yates County has always been a great racetrack for sprint cars. It's a great racetrack for 360 sprints. We've seen so many good races there. You think of back to the Bully Hill Nationals, the New York Sprint Car Nationals that they used to run. And just a great track for the 305s now. So we'll see just how many of those we do get on a weekly basis.
No matter how the track's been weeks prior to, they always figure out a way to get it smooth for the sprint cars.
Yeah.
And it's always racy, and, there might be some dust, but...
And we posted a video Friday night of the Speedway, and that was a number one concern for the Empire Super Sprints. And even though they had signed on, there were some guys that were a little concerned about what the track surface would be. Well, guys, if you listen to the show, go over to our Facebook page, Turn 5 Racing Podcast, and check out the surface. I don't think ESS is going to have anything to worry about.
No, I told you yesterday, Caitlin and I walked across the track after the races were over with, and we're leaving footprints as we walked. Wasn't tacky per se. It was kind of, it was greasy, slimy, but it was smooth.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't a rut. it was a little rolly in the middle where it got down underneath the top layer of the track.
Yeah.
But there was bite there. The track was awesome, bottom line.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go over to those interviews with the top 3 from the CRSA. We're going to talk with the winner of the CRSA 305 Sprints tonight, none other than Daryl Ruggles. Daryl, great run for you out there tonight. Car looked awesome.
Early it didn't look so good. We struggled a little bit in hot laps. Car was loose. Made a couple changes for the heat race, and then it totally made a big change, and made it push. And then Mike Emhoff from Emhoff Motorsports, and he came over and was pointing out some stuff, and I go, no, that's the shock that's on the car. He goes, absolutely not. You better go look at it. And I guess I got to get a better set of glasses, but I put the wrong shock in the car again, second week in a row, and he pointed me in the right direction, and I go, I thought that's what was on the car, and I came here with a setup that I thought was in the car, and that's what I wanted, and that's what we ended up with, and it really worked good. And Dan Harpel did a great job on this racetrack, and I just hope we can get some more of these 305 cars. Tonight I know there was only a couple regulars, and I know there's some more regulars that will be here on a weekly basis. And I think the weather scared a few people off, but all in all, we had a good night. And CSRA, that's my first win with those guys, and it's a great group of guys, but I just can't travel all the way down to run their series all the time. So.
This is about as far west as those guys run.
Yeah, they don't know why they didn't get so many cars tonight, and they got a race tomorrow at Orange County, and that's a pretty long haul to come here on Friday night, turn around and go all the way to Orange County tomorrow. So yeah. I know that killed a bunch of the CSRA guys. They're a good group of cars, and they're fast, and they got really good equipment. And Mike Van Duzen does a great job, and we had an exceptional car tonight, finally. Yeah,
and let's talk about this track. I mean, this is just a great sprint car track, whether you got the 305, 360, whatever. Talk about, running this track, where you had to run, where the good line was.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty familiar with here because I've run here in the Sportsman, I've run here in the Modified, and we ran here with the micro sprints for many years, and there were so many rocks in it, and it shied me away from coming here because it just tore up the cars. But the last couple of years, the rocks have settled down, and tonight that track was just absolutely wonderful. The Harpel family has just done a wonderful job with the track. I mean, when we pulled in here, we were the first ones in the pits. That racetrack was ready to go when we got here at 5 o'clock. So normally you come here, it's 2.5 hours, 3 hours waiting for that racetrack to be able to go out there. We could have unloaded at 5 o'clock and went out there. My hat's off to those guys. I don't know, how many hours they put into it, but it definitely showed. And I know I appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of other drivers do too, because that track was flawless.
It takes a lot of guys, a lot of businesses behind your guys' effort this year, and I'll give you a second to mention all those folks.
Well, you can have anything you want, but you still got to have a motor to get one of these cars around the racetrack, and Mike Maston is behind me 100% all the time. Mike Emhoff with Emhoff Motorsports, Eagle Chassis, Engler Injection. I mean, everybody says you got to have a good carburetor. Well, these cars, you need a good injection system, and you just got to, you got to have great sponsors. Ike Van Bortle Trucking, Fox's Auto. God, there's so many people.
Yeah.
K&A Contracting, FK Rod Ends. They help my daughter out. I put them on my car, and there's just so many people that help with this deal, and the family, friends, fans, the crew guys, Jeff Lovejoy, Brian, his dad, Pops, John Doucette, my daughter, Nate. I wish I'd brought my daughter tonight, but I figured we were going to have 30 cars, 25, 30 cars, and I just didn't want to, I just don't have the manpower to maintenance one of these so it's ready to go on Saturday.
Sure.
So, and then you got to have 2 trucks to get both cars here, and then you got to have another truck to get the 4-wheeler here. So we just chose financially, that we were just going to bring me and focus on my car, and but now with the low car count, it's kind of bummed out that she didn't get a good, she could have had a good race tonight, and but we're going to be here quite a bit, and we got a Sportsman deal too.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So we're gonna be racing here quite a bit. I wish we brought the sportsman car tonight because I'm still ready to go race.
And tomorrow, I imagine Canandaigua for you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow will be a great show. The Patriots are at Canandaigua, and once again, Jeremy does, A1 condition on the racetrack. Our first race out, we were fair. We finished second. Nicky Cooper and those guys, they drove it and they ran away with it. They had a good car, started up front, and he was really good. And, we struggled. It seems like I never drove one of these cars last week, and I found out why. It was my own stupidity. I put a left front shock on the left rear, and I wasn't giving the transfer and the roll, so that's what I mean. I put the wrong shock on the car 2 nights in a row, but I had somebody like Mike Emhoff caught it tonight, and sometimes you just need that extra set of eyes. And you think that you're perfect and you're invisible and you can make no mistakes, but I make as many mistakes as anybody. And, you just need a good crew to back me up, because if they got a car that handles as good as that thing does, pretty much anybody can drive it. You just, and the motor just runs flawless. That's a 1.5-year-old motor. Mike just does a wonderful job of those. Yeah. And just everything just went our way tonight.
Well, we wish you luck the rest of the way, and good luck out at Canandaigua tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, that's Daryl Ruggles taking home the win tonight in the CRSA 305 Sprints. We're going to talk with Bill Jaycox, driver of the number 5 305 sprint car here at Yates County, running with the CRSA, the first race for them for this season. And Bill, let's talk about your run tonight. First run of the year. I know you guys got rained out last week, so how did things go for you?
Went pretty good. We were pretty fast right off the trailer tonight, and we weren't fast enough for Daryl Ruggles, but that's okay. We'll get him next time.
And I know you guys are going to be headed to Middletown for a race tomorrow. That's going to be a pretty big, pretty fast track for you guys.
Yeah, we've got 2 wins down there over the years, and I haven't been back there in a couple of years, but look forward to going back tomorrow night. Long haul home tonight, but we'll make it work.
Obviously, different setup down there than here, and I imagine probably different gears as well.
Different gears, different bars, shocks, the whole 9 yards. 5/8, big, wide, and fast. So it's good. It's fun down there.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow. We'll let you finish doing your stuff here, and these guys got a lot of changes to make in order to go down to Middletown and run their next race here with the CRSA series. Pit side here after the 305 sprint car race. We're going to talk to the driver finishing third tonight, Jeremy Quick in his 72. Jeremy, how was your run out there tonight?
It wasn't bad. It was a brand new car. We just got the car this year, and it's a little different than my other cars. We changed a bunch of stuff after the heat race. It was pretty loose, and then tightened it up a lot, and the car was real good.
It's a pretty fast track for being as small as it is for the 305s.
Yeah, you get a lot of momentum. You get it running on the top, a lot of momentum. It's fast. It's nice. I love this place. It's a good track.
Where are you guys off to next now?
Tomorrow we got Middletown and I guess it'd be downstate, overstate, or somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But we got Middletown over there, and that should be a good run. We usually do pretty good there. We don't come home in a pile. That's a real fast track.
Well, this early in the season, we certainly hope that doesn't happen, and good luck down in Middletown.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, that's Jeremy Quick, driver of the number 72 305 Sprinter, running here with the CRSA.
Good show there for the CRSA. Those guys had to pack up and head down to Middletown to get their next event in, and good show there. Next up, Crate Sportsman, 25-lap feature. And how about this? Franny Hilton taking home the win. Pretty dominating performance. It was a good race between him and Zeke, Ray Bliss. They put on a show there toward the end. A long green flag run in that race. Then a late yellow flag, and Franny put it to him. Fran Hilton got the win. Ray Bliss had to settle for second. Josh Kesey, who we talked to, came home third. Brady Fultz out of Dundee, New York, came home fourth. And Chris Doherty rounded out your top five. Chris Silvers, Lauren Lincoln, Casey Pavlik, Phil Yaw in his rookie campaign. First night in the Sportsman comes home ninth. And Chris Fisher rounded out your top 10. We have interviews with the top three from the Sportsman class, and we'll let you know what those guys thought about their runs.
Pit side here after the Crate Sportsman race, and talking to our winner, a driver of the 3 car, Franny Hilton. And Fran, what a race out there tonight.
It sure was. Tom Davis put an excellent car underneath me. He's the one that set it up and everything, did most of the work on this car. I can't thank him enough, and we were out there on 4 used tires from last year. The car hooked up and handled great. The Ford didn't get by me earlier, but I worked my way back by him. Then I saw Zeke Bliss sneaking on the inside in the last 5 laps, so I just held my line, and she came through for me.
That was a classic battle there, Hilton and Bliss there toward the end.
We had some of those at the end of last year, too. Zeke and I have had some good battles.
And, the beginning part of the race there, you guys had a long green flag run. How did the car handle that long run? Did you see any changes over the course of that run?
The longer it was, the better the car got.
Really?
Yes. The Ford jumped me on the start. He got ahead of me. A good start by both of us. And more the car went, I kept closing in on him. But he had a little higher line than I did, and I watched him skate out a few times. So I knew I had to stay low and stay on his bumper if he slid up again. He did, and I got by him.
Oh, what a great start to the year.
It sure is. It was a bad ending last year, but a good start this year.
That's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Fran Hilton, who takes home the Crate Sportsman win tonight and gets 2014 off to a great start. Well, picking right up where they left off from last year, another great Fran Hilton and Zeke battles here at Yates County Speedway tonight. Tell us about your second place run.
Well, for what they had no cautions, that was good. I wish they wouldn't have had that one.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had a long green flag run, a lot of lap cars, and really just a great race.
Yeah, we went with a harder tire, and it was coming on good at the end.
I kind of wonder if maybe that's what Fran was doing too, because he said his car also got better as the longer the race went on. So how was the track out there?
The track's beautiful. Not a ripple in it.
And I know that second place is a great way to start off the year. Are you guys going to be doing full points here?
Actually, we're going to Freedom this year.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know, that's what the car owner wants to do.
Well, in any way, top 5 is a great way to start off the season.
Yeah, at least it didn't rain. We finally got the race.
That is absolutely correct. That's Ray Bliss, driver of the 12Z, and got a strong second place run here tonight. Catching up with third place from the Crate Sportsman, gentleman we caught up with earlier tonight. Now tell me, strong early on in the race, how did your car change over the course of that long run you guys had?
Well, we went with a softer tire. Tonight was the third race on that tire, so I think if we went on a little harder, we would have been where we needed to be tonight. So.
And it's funny you say that, because the other 2 guys finished first and second were telling me that their car got a little stronger as the run went on. I think they had gone with a little harder compound. But, overall, let's evaluate the whole night. I mean, you guys ran strong in your heat race. Third place finish in the A-Main. It's a great way to start the season.
Yeah, I'm real happy with the car. We didn't break nothing, and that's all I can really ask for.
That's always a good day.
Yep.
Third, that's my best finish, so I'll take it, I guess, and hopefully I get to my work situation. I can stay on third shift and see you guys every Friday. So.
Well, that'd be awesome. Third place is a great way to start the season.
Well, that was third place finisher Josh Kesey, who was a great interview the other night. Walked up to him and he goes, "Oh, you guys are from Turn 5," and it's like, "Oh, yes, yes, we are." It's always nice when somebody recognizes what we're doing here, and we're gaining popularity. Clint, we're over 500 likes on Facebook,
503,
which is awesome. Let's get into more results. IMCA Modified's 20-lap feature and getting the first win of 2014. This guy's been wheeling race cars at Dundee for 40 years. Dick in the Dirt, Rich Karlnoski, took home the win. Pretty impressive performance for Dick in the Dirt.
Oh, yeah. It was.
He's got that car figured out.
He's got the car. He's got the track. That was pure domination.
Yeah.
I think he lapped up to second or third place, fourth place, something like that. It was silly.
He took the win over Jared Spalding. Chris Fleming was third. Todd Stone came home fourth, and Bruce Tinsley rounded out your top 5 there in the IMCA Modifieds. We got a chance to talk to Dick in the Dirt, and let's hear what he said about his feature win.
Right here, pit side at Yates County Speedway. Going to get a chance to talk to the winner of the IMCA Modified feature, Dick in the Dirt, Rich Kalinowski. Congratulations on the win. How'd you do it tonight?
We just had the car was right, good set of tires on the back for the feature. I shouldn't be saying this stuff, but I got to play with it,
Yeah.
We worked hard on this car. We always have worked hard on it, and the emphasis on the front roll center. If they look up front and figure that out, they'd probably go a lot faster around here,
Now, toward the end of the race, it was close. I mean, coming down, or was that a lap car? I couldn't tell who was running with you there.
I don't know who's there, but I know there's a lot of lap cars in the way tonight.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, a lot of lap cars.
Now, over the course of the last couple of years, I got to imagine you've really got the setup dialed in on this car.
We've been working hard on this thing. This is the 4th year with this car.
Yeah.
We converted it to a 4-bar car 3 years ago. And it's been a fast car no matter where we go with it. But especially here, like I was telling somebody, this will be my 40th year running around circles here at this racetrack.
I was just going to ask that question because I know you've been here for a long time, and just to go off of that, it's got to feel good to still be winning races here after running so long.
Yeah, that feels real good to us. Still be competitive, and now I got another generation coming up right behind us, and I think he's going to be better than me.
He's no slouch himself.
No, the boy, he's talented. He really is.
Takes a big crew, and you guys certainly got a great crew here and a lot of sponsors to back you up. Tell us about those.
Well, we don't have a lot of sponsorship money. We kind of this is pretty much funded out of our pockets, his and mine, and that's really where it comes from. And then a lot of hard work in the shop. As you can see, that body's 4 years old. I haven't put a body on that car since I've owned it.
It doesn't look too bad for 4 years.
Hey, they found out, but yeah. I've never seen speed or beauty win races,
You got that right. Well, that is the winner of the IMCA Modified feature tonight. Dick in the Dirt, still doing it after 40 years here.
Great run there for Rich Kalinowski to get the win in the IMCA Modifieds. Now let's go up to the Greg's Auto Body Street Stocks, and boy, just a buzz over the off season. Couldn't wait to get this first event in. Even just this first night to see how many cars they were going to get. They got 19 cars, as we mentioned before. 20-lap feature, and man, this guy was on a rail all night long. Came home second in his heat, but boy, Clint, you and I stood there together and watched this feature, and nobody had anything for Richie Sharpstein.
No, the only possible one was Jake the Snake Karnowski.
I will give you that.
He was the first one to get around. Chuck Winslow took the lead coming out of going through 3 and 4, coming out of 2 on the next lap he broke. So, so it's hard to say, taking him out of the equation. But after that, there wasn't anybody.
I talked to one of Jake's crew guys afterwards, and they thought that something in the transmission let go in the Karnowski 55X. So hopefully they'll be able to get that fixed up. And they've got a couple weeks to get it fixed up until the next event on May 16th. But the Flying X, Richie Sharpstein, came home with the win, garnering himself $500 from Greg's Auto Body for the street stock win. Chuck Winslow, in a beautifully painted up and lettered number 61, came home second. Kurt Stebbins was third. Jeremy Petrobowski came home fourth in the T1. And last year's Empire 100 winner, Corey Costa, pulling out his street stock to come over and compete for the $500 purse, came home and rounded out your top 5. 6 through 10 was Daryl Krebs, Jared Hill. Jeremy Trank came home 9th, and rounding out the top 10 was Dresden, New York's Nate Daggett in his 3D.
Debut for a new street stock.
Yeah, and
they struggled.
They had some struggles, but I interviewed Nate earlier in the night before the feature, and they struggled because the track is so much different. I mean, for a lot of these guys, they've got to take what notes they've had and essentially, for the most part, toss them up in the air because the track, they'd not seen the track like that before. But on the other hand, at the end of the night, it still kind of came out in the old Dundee or Black Rock, if you still call it that, Yates County Speedway. the old track still came through and kind of showed, and that's what Richie said after the race, was even though the track was great and they'd not seen it like that in a long time, the old surface came back about.
Yeah, so. Yeah, about a third of the way up the groove seemed to be where the best place was. If you could get your right rear tire in it quicker than the guy in front of you, you might be able to get around him on the bottom. But I know that Nate actually it is a brand new car.
It is, yep.
And I'm sure that they're going to have a learning curve with that because the measurements are different, and so you topple that on top of a new surface, and you're bound to scratch your head and have a big headache.
Yeah. We've got interviews with 4 of the top 5 from the street stock event on night number 1 at Yates County, so let's hear about their nights.
Post-race over here in the pit area at Yates County. Going to talk to the guy that took home the first $500 win of the year for the Greg's Auto Body Street Stocks here at Yates County Speedway. Rich Sharpstein. And Rich, that car was just flawless tonight. Nobody had anything for you.
Oh, we hit spot on the setup. We went back to where we were at the beginning of the year last year. I mean, it's new track owner, new track prep, but it's still the same old track surface. You got to know where to be come feature time, and we set it up for that.
Early on in the race, Chuck Winslow really give you a run for your money, but as the race wore on, he was just a little bit too loose, and you guys were still right on the money.
Yeah, it seemed like the longer we ran, the better our car got. I think we learned something tonight to maybe down the road for the long races, because the longer we ran, the faster the car got.
And that could be good for later on in the year.
Oh, absolutely. Last year we started off strong like this, and then straight away from setup this year, we're going to go with the old motto, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Now, for the rest of this weekend, I know last week you talked about going down for the 35-lapper at Woodhull. Is that still the plan now?
No, we got 500 reasons to drink beer all weekend now.
There you go. And I imagine the party will probably start just down the street here.
Oh, absolutely, and probably last till Sunday.
Now, one other thing I wanted to touch on was you guys discovered a problem yesterday with the engine, I believe it was. Yeah. What exactly did you guys discover that you had to fix before today?
I don't have the luxury of being in the shop to work on the car. Our cars live in the backyard. So we had a nice day yesterday until we actually got to work on it. And we went out, we're going through the car, and fired up, double-checked timing and stuff, and it run for a minute, started dropping cylinders. And we were all baffled, thought we were going to have to pull the motor apart. Turned out that for the third time, I think, this year, it's burning the electrodes out of the spark plugs.
Wow. Definitely not the problem you want to discover on Thursday afternoon.
No, absolutely not. But I got a great group of guys that helped me out, and we were on top of it. I was ready to pack it up and call it a day and say screw it. And they stayed on top of me to keep me cooled down, and we'll get her fixed one way or another.
Tell me what it means. New era here at the Speedway, new era for the street stock division, and you guys come out and pull off the win on the first night.
It's something that it's going to be able to stay with you for a long time to know that you were the first street stock winner at the new Yates County Speedway.
All right, man. Congratulations. We'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
Hopefully. Thank you.
All right. That's Rich Sharpstein, driver of the Flying X. They brought home the win, and they got 500 reasons to go and have themselves a good time tonight. Post-race after the first Greg's Auto Body Street Stock Race of the Year, Chuck Winslow and this sharp-looking 61 comes home second tonight. Chuck, what did you need to get just one more spot tonight?
It was a little too loose.
Okay.
Yeah, the track did what we thought it was. We tightened it up, but not nearly enough.
And when you say tighten it up, just on a basic level, is that tire pressures? Is that tire size? What?
Yeah. Tire size, stagger.
Okay.
Stagger and a little left more. We could have used a little more left rear in the car. And we made the adjustments, just didn't go far enough.
And even at that, you guys were still pretty strong out there. Pretty good race.
Yeah, at the end there, we were just kind of holding on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The guy that run third there, that was a great race. Richie had the right setup tonight, but, we'll be back next week.
Yeah, not a bad run for the first night out.
Actually, no, and I didn't get the motor until 11 o'clock. So
this morning?
Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't a bad day.
That's not a bad day at all. Chuck Winslow coming home in second place tonight.
Thanks.
Yep. We're going to catch up with Jeremy Petrobowski. Strong fourth place finish. Gets you a top 5 to start off the season. Tell us about your run tonight.
I had trouble hooking it up coming off the corners.
just not getting any bite at all. Then I had a little issue a couple of times out there where my throttle was actually sticking, so I was trying not to, overstep on the gas pedal. Other than that, the car felt real good. Track was in wonderful condition.
Seemed like it stayed that way all throughout the night tonight.
Yeah, surprisingly, with the weather we've had, I figured we'd have a mud pit out there, but, it was a really good racetrack.
A couple guys that I talked to said they were fighting loose toward the second half of the race. Was that your experience as well, or did you guys feel something different?
Yeah, I was a little loose coming off. Just not hooking up the tires is mainly my biggest issue right now. Other than that, the car felt real good.
Now, looking ahead, 2 weeks from now will be the next race here. What is it that you think you guys are going to be looking at to try and get those tires to hook up on the track?
Probably springs. I think we might be going a little too light, so we need to make some changes in that department and put it back on the scales and check everything out and come back and try it again.
Looking over the car, doesn't look like any major issues from tonight. How was the night as a whole for you guys tonight?
Well, it's a wonderful thing, that wreck in the car. I got a great crew: Randy Ballman, Greg Koval, everybody helps. Chris Doherty, Sean Gleason, Jason Gleason, Justin Pack. Everybody that helps on this race car is phenomenal. So it's nice to take it home in one piece so we can have an easy week.
Well, congratulations on your top 5, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that's Jeremy Petrobowski, driver of the T1. Comes home 4th tonight, got the car in one piece. He'll be back in a couple weeks to try and get that second $500 to win race. Post-race here in the pits after the first Greg's Auto Body Street Stock race of the year. Catching up with 5th place Corey Costa. Corey, tell us about your run tonight.
It was a pretty good run. I had a vibration in the car, so I couldn't really get anything down the straightaways, but the thing was fast in the corners.
Any idea what the vibration might have been yet?
We changed the U-joint, we checked the gears, and it's got to be clutch or transmission. I don't know.
Gotcha. And so you guys will be headed off to Woodhall for the Sportsman tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to go home, get the car ready tonight in the morning, and that's where we'll be tomorrow.
All right, that's Corey Costa, 5th place finisher tonight at the Yates County Speedway.
Well, Richie really hit on the setup there, and Chuck says we'll be back next time.
And he will.
And he will. They probably... I don't know that you'll see Chuck run every points race. He told me on Friday night they like to come racing, and they like to spend time at the lake. So sometimes those don't always cross paths together.
They don't, but when you have an offset schedule like BlackRock has, you can go out on the lake on the off weeks.
That's true. So we'll see what happens there. Let's get to the 360 late model, the crate late models, the BRP late models, and I think, the Rush late model rules also apply.
Rush, and I think the Go Nuclear.
Just put them all in a blender, But I think we did see
Crate
on
Kool-Aid.
Friday night that Crate was king on Friday night. Jason Knowles just put a whooping on the field.
Well, yes and no. Brian Knowles, I think, at the end of the race was a little bit faster. But when he got to Jason, he couldn't get the car to rotate enough to be able to put a good challenge on him.
Sure.
But he was running with him, car length back. But he did catch him twice.
Yeah.
But these guys are fast.
Yeah.
I was consistently clocking Jason and Brian right around 15.7. That's bringing it around the BlackRock Speedway. Adam Depew, he was running about 16.5, 16.6. So there's about three-quarter of a second difference between the crate late models and the BRP late models.
Yeah. Jason Knowles took home the heat win and got the win in the feature. Brian Knowles came home second. Bill Messler was third. Adam Depew fourth. Brad Messler fifth. And then 6th and 7th was Jared Hill, who had to pull in. They were actually had a malfunction with an oil filter. Jared said he lost oil pressure and obviously was leaking out some oil. And there was some really scary moments there in the pits afterwards. Not sure if they had hurt the motor or what. But Saturday morning got the diagnosis of the bad oil filter, and they were ready to head on to Raceway 5.
So we'll just hope that their motor was okay.
Yeah, and coming home 7th was Sparky Hills. Sparky had a rough night. had some rear end suspension problems and came in on the hook. So that was your late model feature event, and we've got great audio with Jason Knowles, who took home the win.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk to the winner of the late model race here at the Yates County Speedway. Getting the first one of the year, Jason Knowles in the Doug Ross Construction Cat Rental Store number 4. And Jason had a strong car right out of the box tonight, and you guys showed that out in the feature.
Yeah, we definitely did. I mean, it really paid off, and it shows that, you know, we work hard and try to come prepared in the best way we can.
And, you know, that's something that I'm sure has been carried down from Dad. I mean, that's one thing that when the 4 car and even the 7 car rolls into the pit area, those boys are ready to go.
Oh, you can bet on that. Any day of the week, it don't matter. You know, and then exactly it has been passed down, which is good.
What's it mean to get the first one of the season out of the box?
Well, you know, you get the monkey off your back, and hopefully there's a lot more to follow.
Are you guys going to be running here on Friday nights every week?
We should make most of them. We're going to be running the Go Nuclear Late Model Series.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, whatever doesn't conflict with that, and we might run a couple other rush shows or, you know. But our plan is to run here and catch a lot of the series.
Now, with the Go Nuclear Series losing their show on Sunday, does that change your guys' plans the rest of the weekend, or are you guys going to kind of pack it in for the weekend?
We'll probably pack it in. It's my daughter's birthday this weekend.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of a blessing. When they first canceled, I was like, oh, because I knew what was going to happen. And then, you know, with it canceling, you know, it's still a good deal.
Not a bad weekend when you can come out, get a win, and then spend some family time the rest of the weekend.
Oh, definitely, because that's what it's about.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go and check out your video and go home and play with your new toy, and congrats again on the win.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Jason Knowles, driver of the number 4. He takes the win in the Yates County Speedway late model division.
So a good run there for Jason Knowles, and he had a new toy with him to play with on Friday night. He's got a new GoPro cam, and Brad, you might find this pretty interesting. He's got a GoPro cam that doesn't require an SD card, actually links it up right with his iPad sitting in the trailer, and he actually told me that if the track was small enough, if the trailer was close enough to the track, he could actually, the crew guys could actually watch his in-car cam live in the trailer. So,
yeah, those new GoPro Hero 3s.
Yeah.
They've got the Wi-Fi signaling that if you set up the network right, you can live stream off of one of the Wi-Fi networks. It's kind of a complicated deal, but it's one of those cool deals. Like you said, you can watch an actual live feed, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So those guys were watching that because, you know, as soon as he got out of the car from his heat race, they were up in the trailer watching the in-car, he was showing the crew guys, you know, kind of showing them, hey, this is what the car was doing, this is what I was feeling. And it's
very interesting.
It's a very interesting new technology that we see out at the racetrack. And I'm sure as time goes on, we'll see more of it, especially now when you hear it here on Turn 5. Let's get to the 4-cylinders. 20-lap feature. This was the 4-cylinder rear-wheel drive cars combined with the front-wheel drive cars. Now, mind you, there was 14 of those cars with more coming. Sat with Craig Mart for quite a while. Craig's got some big plans for a car for himself, as well as a backup or two. You might see a few cars from that stable over at the Speedway. But in their 20-lap feature, it was a front-wheel drive car that took home the win. That was Trevor Dudley. Scott Bradley in a rear-wheel drive 4-cylinder came home second. Bobby Teed with a great recovery for third. Bobby spun out about halfway through that event, and what a great recovery to come home for third. Fourth was Chad Ayers, and Del Cummings, the ageless wonder in the 4-cylinders, came home fifth. 6 through 10 was Chris Mashesky, who was in the Force 94 car. Their car not quite ready for opening night. Talked to Chris after the races. He was on in the studio here with us a couple weeks ago. Their car will be ready for May 16th. Wasn't quite ready for opening night, and the Forces were kind enough to let him jump into the 94 and salvage a pretty good run, come home in 6th. 7th was Nate Freeland, 8th was Brian Thompson, Rick Horton was 9th, and Jason Smart rounded out your top 10 in the 4 cylinders. And in the Bandits, she told us over the winter, I'm coming back in 2014 to defend my title and win another one before I go off into the street stock division. Alley Cat, Allison Teed took home the win. Pretty dominating performance there. The Bandit class, you never know what you're going to get with the Bandits from year to year. And you've got Allison, who is a seasoned veteran in that class, and you've got drivers in that class that are starting off new or have maybe a year or two experience under their belt. And Allison is going to do great things.
She's raced go-karts, and she was able to drive over to Starlight Speedway.
Yeah. So, great run for her, and we were able to catch up with her in the pit area.
At Yates County Speedway after the Black Rock, what used to be called the Black Rock Bandit Division, now will be the Yates County Speedway Bandit Division. And defending champ from 2013, Allison Teed, starts off the year strong in defense of her title this year. Allison, how was the car out there for you?
It was great. The track's really good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly for the first night, but
very, very smooth out there. I imagine you probably could have put your car just about anywhere.
Felt like it. I was a little loose though, coming out of 1 and 2 sometimes, but
what line was working for you out there tonight?
Middle.
Now, I can't remember from the last time that we talked. Is that typically where you like to run here?
Yeah, in the middle, sometimes bottom. Just depends on the night, the way the track is.
And what's unique about this Bandit division here at Yates County is now you guys got to get the car ready for Dad to go out for his feature.
Yeah, it's fun though. I get to watch him, and then we help each other. Wearing's good and not's good in the track.
Now let me ask you one more question. Tonight you guys ran a little bit later in the night. You guys are used to running your race right off the bat at the beginning before the heat races. What was it like running under the lights?
I definitely liked it a lot better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's great.
It gives the track time to settle too.
Oh, that's true.
We're not out there on the wet track. It's more smooth. It's a little dry though out there.
Yeah, and I imagine that's something we're going to see as the night goes on here. Anyway, congratulations on your win tonight. Who do you got to thank?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Siri Stand and Stone, Whirlpool, Corral, Glen Harbor Marina, and my mom and dad.
All right. Well, she started off the year strong, said she was going to defend her title this year. She gets win number 1 here on Friday, May 2nd at Yates County.
Well, that's the results and interviews that we had from the Yates County Speedway's action on Friday night. Do want to remind all of our listeners here at Turn 5 that we are going to be putting out 2 separate files on iTunes and on YouTube. We had 36 interviews from Friday night over at Yates County. We're going to put all of those together. We're going to put them up in another file. Obviously, with our 1-hour show format here, we wanted to get to as many as we could. We couldn't get to all of them, but we will post those so you guys can listen to them. A lot of great coverage there from Friday night. Good show.
Yeah, maybe find out what your favorite driver had to say.
Absolutely. Next race for Yates County, Tuesday, May 13th, for the Northeast Showdown for the Race of Champions Dirt Modified Series. They'll be joined by the Crate Sportsman and just 2 classes on the card that night.
Just 2?
Just 2.
Okay.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
2 classes on the card that night. And that was the action over at Yates County Speedway. Obviously, Saturday night was just a mess for everybody. A lot of tracks getting rained out. A lot of tracks tried to go and got rained out. Maybe got some races in and got rained out. So not a lot to talk about on Saturday. So we're going to go off to a commercial break, and when we come back, we've got some Chemung results and interviews to get to.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Penn Yan Electronics is the official Radio Shack dealer of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They're also the only Radio Shack dealer in the Penn Yan area. Visit them at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn for all of your electronics, cable, music, and cell phone needs. Visit Penn Electronics or give them a call, 315-536-7700. Penn Electronics. RaceChaserOnline.com is your home for news, views, and driver interviews. You can catch everything from F1 to IndyCar, NASCAR, short track, and dirt car. You can also find them on Speed 77 Radio Mondays on Shoutcast. Catch Motorsports Madness live at 7 p.m. and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report Thursdays at 7 p.m. Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. If you need karaoke for your bar or party, or if you need the photo booth to create memories that'll last a lifetime, give Stu a call at 315-481-9700, or you can find him on Facebook, search Creekside Entertainment, or find him on the World Wide Web, www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com.
Your dirt track home for news, discussion, and driver interviews, along with race results. You're listening to Turn 5.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast, brought to you weekly by the official DJ and photo booth company of Turn 5, Creekside Entertainment, Penn Electronics down on Main Street in beautiful downtown Penn Yan, and Speed 77 Radio, RaceChaserOnline.com. Clint, we had a pretty unique experience to talk about. Sunday, got a chance to go down to the Chemung Speedrome and take in the Race of Champions Asphalt Modified Tour. And before we get into that, I just want to send a special thanks to John White, who was in contact with us all week long prior to the event and allowed us to come down and provide some coverage. And I know everybody on the Turn 5 page and on the Race Chaser Online page really enjoyed all the stuff we were posting yesterday, a lot of videos and updates, and pretty good racing down there. Let's start off with those heat races.
Oh, man.
Those heat races, honestly, not to take anything away from the 75-lap feature, but those heat races were worth the price of admission yesterday.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny you should say that, because we went over to the drivers' meeting, and we were listening to the drivers' meeting, and the guy stood up and said, listen, we got 24 cars, everybody starting the feature. So save your equipment, you know, put on a good show for the fans.
I believe that was tour director Andy Harpel.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Let's put on a good show for the fans, but don't do anything crazy.
Don't trash your car on the first day.
And, you know, make the feature, and then we'll go from there. And the racing was absolutely incredible.
They dropped the green flag, and those boys got after it.
They did two, three
wide, even in the corners. And the couple times they went 3 wide, I was grabbing Clint by the arm saying, oh, man, here we go, 3 wide in the corners.
They're not going to make it. They're not.
And they were making it work. And if you've been to Chemung, you probably know, okay, you know, 3 wide, they've got room to work with. But just great racing down there. Heat wins down there were taken by Rusty Smith, Matt Hirschman, and Mike Leedy. And as I lead on the Motorsports Madness show that we did tonight with Tom Baker and Jacob Seelman, we spent our day down in near the Leedy pits with Patrick Emmerling and Mike Leedy driving the 25 car. And Mike Leedy drew the pole and started off pretty good, but 6 laps into the race kind of fell back and got spun out, and that was kind of where their troubles started for the day.
I guess it depends on who you ask, because Hirschman in Victory Lane said that he never touched him. He lost it on its own. But I didn't see it. I can't comment on it.
Sure.
So
it was that really just kind of started the uphill battle for the Leedy 25 crew from that point. But Bobby Holmes in the 99 car was strong from the beginning. And Hirschman had to work his way past Holmes to get the lead. But
and Holmes didn't let him go.
He didn't, no. That I think if Holmes could have stayed up there for the entire 75-lap race, I really feel like that would have been a great race down to the end. But so Bobby Holmes had a great run. He ended up getting spun out, and he had to go to the back, and I think he had some damage as well.
Yeah, I don't even think he ended up finishing the race.
I don't believe so.
TJ Petrovowski had a really nice run yesterday.
He was charging through the field.
From 23rd, he got up to 6th. I think he might even got up to 4th.
I think he was up in the top 5.
Yep.
When he got spun out.
Yeah, he got spun out by...
Getting spun out was the name of the game yesterday.
Austin Quackenhash.
Kokinash,
okay.
Yeah.
So
that was some hard racing there in the top 5. And Matt Hirschman, what can you say? They call him Money Matt, and they call him Money Matt for good reason. Took the lead on lap 7, led the rest of the way.
Wasn't challenged.
Really wasn't challenged. He was able to keep 2 to 3 cars on whoever it was running second. Chuck Hosfeld ended up coming up through the field and getting second. And as Clint mentioned to me down there at Chemung, there's no love lost between Hirschman and Hosfeld. And he was kind of setting me up for maybe some fireworks might be happening. But at the end of the day...
Chuck just didn't have the car.
I think Chuck used up his stuff to get to second. And then once he got there, just didn't have anything for him. And third place finishing Austin Kokinash did the same thing. Just didn't have the tires left to do anything once he got up to third.
Because there's a unique tire rule for the ROC.
Yeah. And we're not as familiar with those rules. So when we got there and we saw it posted, they had a 5-tire limit rule. So when you got ready to start the heats, you had to mark the 4 tires on your car as your heat tires, and you were required to take those tires, leave them on the car, and whatever you ran in the heat is what you ran in the feature. They were allowed 1 extra tire, which some guys, depending on where they were running, nobody near the front of the field ever came in for tires.
Right, and that was 1 tire that you could change. Now, if you spun and flat spotted them or flattened it, yes, you could change a tire.
Yeah.
But if you were just running and just changing it for the heck of it, you only had 1 spare tire to work with.
Yep. So if you got into a jingle or was running 10th on back, some guys did come in and take a right rear or a left rear tire. We've got interviews with the top 3 from the Race Champions Modified Tour 75 lap down at Chemung, and we'll start off with your winner, Matt Hirschman.
You're standing here with Matt Hirschman. Matt, great run out there, really dominating performance.
Yeah, everything was good today. Good draws, won the heat, drew 5. You can't complain with that. And had a good race. Got into third early, second spun, moved me up. It just everything worked out. I mean, no problems and no hang-ups there at all. We were pretty good today. Today worked out well. It's not been like that this year for me so far. So it feels good to get a morale boost and realize, hey, you just gotta stick with the program and things will turn around.
Yeah, I know you said in Victory Lane that it was a great win for the team to kind of get things back on track going forward.
Yeah, like I said, I've always been a big believer of momentum, and like I said, I think this is more than just momentum. I think it's a morale boost. Just get everybody's spirits up.
Yeah, where are you guys going to be heading next now?
Next weekend is a Tri-Track Open Series. First race is in Lee, New Hampshire. And then we got more ROC races later this month. Shangri-La 2, Oswego, another wheeling race at Stafford on Memorial Weekend, day before Oswego. So quite a bit going on, but now it's like, it's April and, just things didn't go good. Weather wasn't good either, but now I think today's hopefully a sign of good things that comes. Hopefully some better weather and some good racing.
All right. Thank you very much, Matt, for your time. That's Matt Hirschman. He took the 75-lap win today here at Chemung, and those guys are really getting things on track. They're going to be ones to watch here on the ROC Tour. After his run, finishing second place today at Chemung, this is Chuck Hosfeld being interviewed here at trackside.
Our car was better. I think we were closer to Maddie. They've been on their A game for a long time, and I think that I really believe we have some momentum now. We started further back, and I really believe we have some momentum that we could kind of be competing for wins very shortly, very, very shortly.
All right, that's Chuck Hosfeld after finishing second today here at the Chemung Speedrome. Here trackside, going to talk with third place. Austin, tell us about your run today.
It was a good run, considering we had to start in the back, and we ran our tires off till we got to the front, and then really had nothing left to go at the end. But I think if it would have stayed green, we'd have had we might have done it second, but Matt was tough today. But all in all, it's a good start.
It's a good start to the ROC Pavement Series. Are you guys going to be following the full tour?
Yeah, we're going to run for the championship. We should have a good run chance.
Takes a lot of good people behind you to get this going, and I'll give you a chance to talk about those guys.
Yeah, it really goes to my crew, my sponsors, Horrocks, RR Fry Construction, Balliets, Hutter Engines, Deca Batteries, and just everyone else that helps.
Well, there's your top three from the Race of Champions Modified Tour 75 lapper down there at the Chemung Speedrome. Thanks again to John White, all the staff there at Chemung for having us down. We had so much fun yesterday. We're going to be heading off to Shang-Tu on May 18th to take in the next event on the ROC Tour.
Yeah, I want to see him open the modifieds up.
Yeah, the flagger for the ROC Tour, Steve Kellogg, who also happens to be the flagger at Yates County, told us, if you want to see the modifieds do what they do best, go down to Shangri-La 2. So I think we're going to do it.
I think so. I'm in.
Let's get to sprint cars. World of Outlaws. They were out at the Eldora Speedway. Tony Stewart's Eldora Speedway Friday and Saturday night for a doubleheader out there. And Friday night, first right out of the box, first race for Larson Marks Racing, Shane Stewart in the GoPro Larson Marks Racing number 2 gets the win. Joey Saldana, how many times are we going to keep saying this guy's name? Finishing in the top 5. He came home second.
Week in, week out.
Paul's to the wall. McMahon came home third. Kerry Madsen, another strong run in fourth. And Dale Blaney came home fifth. 6 through 10 was the King, Steve Kinzer, Greg Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, Brad Sweet, and the Wild Child, Jack Hodenshield, came home 10th. Your quick time was Kerry Madsen on Friday night. Heat winners were Shane Stewart, Dale Blaney, Craig Kinzer, and Chad Kemenaugh. Your dash winner was Craig Kinzer. And Sammy Swindell had to come through the B main. And our friends from Pennsylvania, Logan Schuhart and Jacob Allen, having a rough night there on Friday night.
Yeah, they struggled a little bit. Mechanical failure. They weren't even able to finish the B main. Saturday night was a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, for sure. And Saturday that's a great lead into Saturday, because a different story indeed for David Gravel. Started out the year in the 59 car, and then developments within the last week and a half. Tim Kading vacating the Roth Motorsports 83 car, and within not even a week, David Gravel signs to run that car.
Full time
on the tour,
and I don't think Gravel was full time with the 59 car. I think they were just hit and miss. I don't think they were hitting every show.
Okay,
maybe they were. I don't know for sure.
I'm not positive on that one.
But
myself.
I am happy to see David Gravel in a full time ride.
Absolutely, and picks up a win in his second start for Roth Motorsports. Darren Pittman came home second. Randy Hannigan was third. Paul McMahon fourth, and Donnie Schatz rounded out the top 5. 6 through 10 on Saturday night at Eldora was Dale Blaney, Danny Holtgraver, Kerry Madsen, Brad Sweet, and Steve Kinzer rounded out the top 10. Your quick timer on Saturday at Eldora was Kerry Madsen. Heat winners were Kerry Madsen, Paul McMahon, Randy Hannigan, and Sammy Swindell. David Gravel took the dash, and the last chance qualifier, B main, Cody Dara, there on Saturday night at Eldora. So 2 really good nights of racing.
Kerry Madsen having quick time both nights. Actually, our friends from Pennsylvania both made the A main on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Logan Schuhart was actually running 14th when Mechanical Woes sidelined him with 4 to go.
So another good run for Logan there. I know those guys are out in Indiana this weekend.
Looking for help
for their car, and then they'll be in Pennsylvania after that. World of Outlaw late models, wanted to touch on that real quick. Darrell Lanigan swept the weekend at the Fayetteville Speedway and then out at the Livonia Speedway. Good run for T-Mac, really both nights. Got a top 10 on Friday night, and then backed that up with a second-place run to Lanigan on Saturday night.
And he led a lot of laps.
He did. He led laps 3 through 39 out of that 50-lapper. So the great runs continue for T-Mac, knocking on the door for wins. I don't think it's going to be much longer, Clint, and we're going to start hitting some big money shows. And that's generally when T-Mac likes to strike, is on the big money shows. So good runs out there. Also, 2 top 5s for Rick Eckert in the Rocket House car. He also had fast time on Saturday night at Livonia. So again, upcoming stuff for the World of Outlaws. They're going to be headed, the sprint cars will be headed out to Indiana, and then after that they come into Pennsylvania. So make sure to keep tabs on the World of Outlaws. Check those out, both the World of Outlaws sprint cars and late models.com online. We are going to go out to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show, and we will have our NASCAR picks.
You're listening
to Turn 5. Penyan Electronics is the official Radio Shack dealer of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. They're also the only Radio Shack dealer in the Penyan area. Visit them at 103 Main Street in beautiful downtown Penyan for all of your electronics, cable, music, and cell phone needs. Visit Penyan Electronics or give them a call, 315-536-7700. Penyan Electronics. RaceChaserOnline.com is your home for news, views, and driver interviews. You can catch everything from F1 to IndyCar, NASCAR, short track, and dirt car. You can also find them on Speed 77 Radio Mondays on Shoutcast. Catch Motorsports Madness live at 7 p.m. and the Stock Car Steel SRI Motorsports Report Thursdays at 7 p.m. Race Chaser Online. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. If you need karaoke for your bar or party, or if you need the photo booth to create memories that'll last a lifetime, give Stu a call at 315-481-9700, or you can find him on Facebook, search Creekside Entertainment, or find him on the World Wide Web, www.creeksideentertainmentdj.com.
Your dirt track home for news, discussion, and driver interviews, along with race results. You're listening to Turn 5.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast. Clint, we want to remind our race fans out there listening to the podcast that you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You also subscribe to it on YouTube, and you can also subscribe to it on podbean.com. Check out turn5.podbean.com to catch our show weekly. Also, like the Facebook page, up to 503 likes on that. And we do all of our race updates to the Turn 5 page. And while you're over there, make sure you go over and like Race Chaser Online on Facebook as well.
And you know, if you're on the Turn 5 and you think there's something that maybe we could do different, or maybe some questions we could ask, just put a couple compliments on it, or we like compliments,
or
comments, suggestions. Reach us out to Turn 5. We'll answer anything.
Absolutely. And for all of those Apple and Mac users on your iTunes, go in there and if you like our show, give us a good rating on there. Or if you don't like our show, give us a rating and tell us what we can improve on. We're always looking to make the show just a little bit better than the last one we did. Let's go into our NASCAR picks. Talladega this past weekend, And boy,
I am glad I did not pick Brad Keselowski.
Did anybody on our panel?
There. Yeah, I went there.
Anybody on our panel pick Brad? Oh,
wah wah wah.
Jeff Gordon didn't pick Brad Keselowski.
No,
Danica Patrick didn't pick Brad Keselowski.
Neither did Jamie Mack. Or McDonald's, for that matter.
Oh.
Brad Keselowski better steer clear of any McDonald's here anytime soon.
Yeah. See, I haven't even seen the highlight of it yet. But I know,
it's not good.
I talked to my dad a little bit about it tonight, and he kind of, I said, he's 5 or 6 laps down, whatever it was. I'm not saying don't run with the pack, but you can run behind the pack.
Yeah,
and kind of stay out of harm's way when you're that many laps down.
Well, you got the super speedway racing like that. He actually technically was helping the guys behind him,
right,
with the draft. And I mean,
that's what Dad said.
He did have a car that was strong enough to help him with it. So, I mean, we all joke about it, but honestly, I feel pretty uneasy of giving the blame to Brad K for running up there and then just having, what was literally just an accident, but the fact that he was 5 or 6 laps down when he had the accident, it makes it look a lot worse than it really was. But if you stop and think about it, all those guys behind him that were beneficial from it until the accident happened, part malfunction, whatever, you look at the same thing that happened to Carl Edwards, when he had that left rear tire or whatever happened to the car. He knew there was an issue with the car, but you're 3 wide, 4 wide deep in the pack. There's really nothing you can do at 190 miles an hour when the car decides to turn left when you want to go right.
That's very true. And, I will say this about Brad Keselowski. He may have been 5 or 6 laps down, but he was making an effort. He was trying. Which, toward the end of the race, I don't know that Brad's pick could say the same thing. Junior openly admitting that he kind of packed it in there toward the end of the race and tried to save that car to take it to Daytona, which has certainly created an uproar and a stir in NASCAR.
It's funny,
and Junior
Jared,
Nation.
Jared Hill posted on Facebook, Junior, if you're not going to race, why'd you didn't take just a lap and pull it in like a starting park?
Yeah, a little bit of controversy there. So we're gonna pull up our points here on the old Macintosh notepad. And Clint, congratulations, my friend. and if I remember correctly, you were the only one who got knockout qualifying points.
Yep.
And that was a joke. Come on.
It was.
You and I talked about it on the way to Chemung. That was a joke.
Yeah. NASCAR has got to step in and do something a little bit different if they're going to do the knockout qualifying for super speedway races.
Dale Jr. suggested heat races, and let me tell you, man, I'm all for it.
When Dale Jr. puts on Twitter that NASCAR might as well have heat races, there's going to be an uproar somewhere.
Yeah. You know what? I'm for it.
I watched it at my dad's, and they got down to the final 12, and they started the clock at 6 minutes, and all 12 guys and Danica sat on pit road, sat there until 2:45 left, and then they all took off.
Yeah.
And so you had all the Richard Childress cars and cars that run their equipment all in one line. You had Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon running in a pack by themselves. Carl Edwards, a lone Ford, is out there running by himself. And it's so set up. They had orders that Ryan Newman was going to lead the pack. Well, that pretty much packs in any chance Ryan Newman has for the pole.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't lead the pack and get the fastest lap. So, so the guy at the end of the line, of the end of 9 cars, gets somehow a few car lengths in between him and the car in front of him, and when he closes that gap, gains the speed, and voila, Brian Scott's on the pole. It's a terrible design, and NASCAR really needs to do something about it.
Not a fan of it, are you?
No.
It's terrible design, but it's good business.
You know what? I don't think that is.
That's kind of, in my opinion, that's where the racing meets the business world, where, the 31's got solid sponsorship. Let's get a car that maybe doesn't have as well of sponsorship, or we're going to have trouble in the season, get them boosted up there and get a pole. So now we've got something to, throw on paper to bring.
Well, you've got something to sell at that point.
If we put a car in well, I call it Victory Lane, but what is it? Coors Light, the pole award.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of media, you've got a lot of attention to it.
Sure,
and
I
maybe
get
that might not would have been, or that's not. I'm not necessarily saying that's exactly what happened, but like you said, the Super Speedway. I recorded on my DVR the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup qualifying to go back and watch it at my convenience, and after watching half of the Nationwide, I deleted both of them because I knew there was no point in watching it.
And I'm not saying that you're wrong where business meets the sport, but what I'm saying is wrong is you've got NASCAR who is fighting for ratings, fighting to put people in the stands. You advertise this knockout qualifying, and then you pull a stunt where the most exciting 6 minutes for the pole, 12 guys are sitting on pit road doing nothing. Carl Edwards went forward and backwards in his pit 3 or 4 times just to do something. So that's where, as much as I hate NASCAR stepping in and like tweaking the system for NASCAR, this is something that I think that they have to do. They have to do something different to make it. Either don't do it knockout qualifying for super speedways, don't even do it.
Right.
But they can't do that.
And don't take the tweet from Dale Jr. about heat races lightly. It really, when he comes out with things like that, more times than not, it seems as though he gets a little more traction than other people that stand up on their soapbox and say, I don't like this or I don't like that. So that's something that we're going to need to watch. Going over to our picks, Clint, you took Jeff Gordon, and,
somehow somebody's got to win.
Didn't work out so well. Jeff Gordon comes home in 39th. Brad Keselowski actually came home 38th. Can you believe that? Because we were talking about it on the way home from Chemung, and Clint says, well, at least I gained a couple of points on you guys.
I guess I didn't.
Thankfully, you've got knockout qualifying points. Anyway, Brad gets home, takes home the win this week in our picks, with Junior coming home in 26th.
Sad.
Yep.
Sad.
So, Brad will get the 3 points there. I'll get 2 points for finishing second with Brad Keselowski. And Clint will get 2 points with Jeff Gordon. So you will maintain a 2-point lead headed to Kansas. And being that we're going to Kansas and you got third this week, you're going to get first pick.
Clint Boyer.
Wow, that was quick.
It's his home track.
And he's had a good week.
He has had a good week. Daddy to be.
Daddy to be.
It's got a dinghy.
It's good. Can we say that on a podcast?
Doesn't he have a boat?
We got to ask the producer.
Doesn't he have a boat?
Can we say dinghy on a podcast?
I've heard dinghy come across national airwaves, so I'm going to go with a yes.
Okay, all right, good.
However, thingy will be edited out.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, well, Clint going with Clint Boyer. Again, he's had a great week. Congratulations to him and Laura on the news that they're going to be having a baby boy.
Laura Pazziadlo Boyer?
Yes, that is correct. Local connection there with Mrs. Boyer. Congratulations to those guys. And just hours before Clint sends that tweet out, MWR announces a contract extension for Boyer, which includes a contract extension for Brian Patty as crew chief, which also included a contract extension with 5 Hour Energy. So it doesn't look like Clint's going anywhere anytime soon from MWR. And after where they were at Richmond last year, I'm really glad to hear that. I really feel like that is almost a final step that we're past all of that nonsense that happened.
That could have gone a million different ways.
That could have gone really bad, and I'm glad to see that it didn't go all that way. So next up, coming home second this past week, I had Brad Keselowski going off to Kansas. I'm in a point where I just want to take a guy that is going to get a good run for me. I'm only down 2 points to Clint. This guy took a torn-up race car last year and brought it home with a top 10. Jimmy Johnson.
Oh.
Jimmy Johnson.
You know, if we wouldn't get busted for copyright, I'd play the wagon wheel right now, but...
He's got to get a win at some point, guys. We're 10 races in the season. He's got to get a win at some point.
You know, that's not a bad pick.
And you know what?
No, it's not a bad
pick.
I can't
say anything
when you
bad
go
about
with
Jimmy
old
Johnson.
6-time, your odds of getting max points, as Chad Knaus likes to say, are really good.
And maybe he got his pinballing done last week, you know. I think I saw a highlight somewhere of you could have just added the sound effects after the third or fourth ping. But everywhere there was an accident, he was at. So maybe you're right. Maybe this week will be his week.
The NASCAR on Fox cameras just caught a perfect shot of Knaus just dropping his head in disgust.
Yes, those cameramen got bonuses this week.
Yes, they did.
They had some interesting in-car audio during qualifying between Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson.
Really?
And it wasn't for the faint of heart. They were.
It usually isn't with Chad.
Gosh.
They were disagreeing on how Jimmy Johnson should have gone about qualifying.
Oh,
and Jimmy
boy.
said, "Chad, I'm in the car. I did what I thought was going to work. It didn't work."
You know, maybe that's something why they haven't gotten a win yet this year. I mean, there's a lot of stress that, 6-time, you win and you're in the chase, and they haven't gotten a win yet. So who knows? Maybe that's something that's building up the heat around the Hendrick Motorsports shop.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Well, with that in mind, Brad, you get last pick this week, and who are you going to take at Kansas?
Kansas Speedway, a good, solid track that we're going to need some consistency and a guy that can keep a cool head even in a tough situation. So I'm going to have to go with the number 20 of Matt Kenseth.
Ooh.
Solid pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Another guy that has yet to get a win this season that needs one, and that could happen at Kansas. Absolutely. Well,
and I just want to make mention that we were doing the figuring here for the points, and from what I can read here, if this is up to date, to my right here.
It is.
Clint will leave with 29 points. Steven, you got, what was it again?
27.
27, and I bumped up to 24. So, like we said, we're all within 5 points of each other.
You got 22.
24.
22, my friend.
Yeah,
whatever.
3 points. 3 points for... You only get 3 points for having the top
Only
guy.
3 points for the win.
Okay, so Clint and Steven can do math. We figured that out. Just testing you
That's
guys.
about the only thing that I can do.
We're trying to step on his throat here.
Anyways,
it's still
think
too
I've made
tight
a pretty
and too
good
early.
comeback. I just had to put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's too tight and too early, and we'll get there.
This is getting good. It's getting good.
So let's look at the racing docket for this coming weekend. Friday night, Yates County is off. They'll be back next Tuesday for the ROC Mod Show. Saturday night down at Woodhall, they have the Patriot Sprint Tour coming down to the High Banks, New York's toughest bull ring.
Yeah, so if you were there last week, you are going to have to pay a little extra if you have your wristband.
Yeah, we had shared the PR statement that was released about bringing your stubs and wristbands back, and they did put out a correction yesterday while we were at Chemung. So be sure to check woodhallraceway.com for all the updates and up-to-date information on that. I believe it's a regular show out at Canandaigua. Sunday will be
Utica Rome,
Thunder Mountain on Saturday, Raceway 5 on Saturday. And Clint, I'm not sure what your guys' plans for the week are, But I am looking to make my first trip to the Freedom Speedway on Friday.
Oh, I got my chitlins. I won't be able to go.
Opening night for Freedom Speedway. And
you're just going to bust out from work, aren't you?
I think I'm going to... Well, it's an hour and 35 minutes from East Rochester. So I'm thinking about making the trip. I reached out to them, and we'll see what happens. But how about yourself, Brad? What are we looking forward to this weekend?
Sleeping.
All right. Sleep is good.
Sleep is good.
You got to get rid of that spring crud.
Logan's got T-ball on Saturday morning, so we probably won't be doing much racing this weekend.
That's good, though. How's T-ball going?
It's not T-ball. Actually, it's minors. They got the little machine that pitches to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's struggling a little bit. That's all right. He's young. He's on the lower end of...
He plays like his dad?
No, he's much better than his dad.
All right, well, wherever you go to, race fans, make sure you have fun this weekend. Take the kids with you to the races. And we will be back here next week for an all-new edition of Turn 5.
You're listening
to Turn 5.